Good afternoon, Pokésports, and welcome to another tier list video. Today, we're going to be going ahead and looking at the Ice type, the arguably best and worst type in the game. The reason why I say that, because defensively speaking, horrible typing. Offensively speaking, amazing typing. So where will this end up? Who knows? Anyway, let's go ahead and get started with the video. Like you guys might already know, with these videos, I like to give ourselves a little bit of a baseline, look at the top of the top, best of the best, and then look at absolute trash to see where the video lies. But before we do that, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the like button down below, just to show me that you guys are enjoying these tier lists and that you guys are enjoying the channel as well. Without further ado, top of the top, which one's it gonna be? I think absolutely no one can argue this one. Prove me wrong down below in the comment section if you find another ice type that is better than this one right now. Calyrex Ice. There is no way that you guys can argue with me on this one. Calyrex Ice, where do we start? Glacial Lance, broken. Defense, broken. Speed, perfect for Trick Room. Attack, broken. HP, broken. This Pokemon was created to break the game. I'm surprised it hasn't done so, especially when considering the rest of the Ice-type Pokemon that we're going to look through on the list. A lot of them aren't that great. This one is amazing. This one will stick with the top-tier Pokemon. It'll stick with the Kyogres. It'll stick next to the Zacians. It doesn't care. So I think that goes without saying that it deserves to be the top of the list. Now, which one of these is bottom of the bottom? Delibird. So S tier. S tier is our Calyrex Ice. Or F tier, Delibird. Everything else falls in between. Let's see where the list ends up. Let's look for a solid A tier. Pokemon that is good, but not phenomenal. Not S tier. I think a solid A tier for me, at least, personally. Be Kyurem Black? I think Kyurem Black is respectably there. Kyurem White will go ahead and stick, or not White, Kyurem Regular will go ahead and stick in D tier. There's not a lot of scenarios where you should be using Kyurem, because Kyurem Black and Kyurem White exist. Speaking of White, I think that's another S tier alongside Calyrex, because it is seen in the current meta. It is very good against Kyogre. It can freeze dry things. It has like base, what is it, 170 special attack? Probably not 170, like 150 plus. It's high. It's a lot of special attack. It might be 170. It's very strong. It's a great typing, and I think offensively it does what it needs to do in the game to be successful. Oh, I guess another solid A tier Pokemon. Actually, I'm gonna rearrange my list right now. I'll say that's a B tier. A tier Pokemon, Glaceon. Can we agree that Glaceon is just Calyrex but a little bit worse? I mean, it's Calyrex with Icicle Crash instead of Glacial Lance, right? That's essentially what it is. They both do the same thing, except this one counts as a restricted, this one doesn't. But yeah, solid A tier. Another S tier, I will say, is Lapras. I think Lapras is very good. Lapdog is still very good in the current meta. And now you just have the extra leeway to add another restricted with the Lapdog. So I think that definitely has a place. You know, getting screens for 5 turns, maybe even 8 turns if you have a light play is always just going to be amazing. So I think Lapras in general is just a great Pokemon to have. Probably as good as an Ice type gets. Definitely S tier for me. Is it better than Glacier? Honestly, I'd say it is. I say defensively speaking, absolutely. Like what Lapras can do, you don't see with your eyes, right? You don't look at the damage reduction and you're like, okay, the only reason I lived this was because Lapras helped me out. But it does so much in the background that I think it deserves to be S tier. Moving on with the list, let's look at some other not great but not phenomenal Pokemon. I think a Mamoswine falls into an A category, maybe a little bit less. I don't want to say Mamoswine is as strong as Glacier, but I think it can be as strong as Kyurem Black. I think Mamoswine, because of its typing, because it has ground, because it does have some immunities, and because, you know, Mamoswine in general as a Pokemon does have a lot of priority moves, does hit very hard, is actually a little bit tanky on the HP side. it's not that bad. It's a pretty good Pokemon, pretty standard Pokemon. One that is kind of at par with Glaceon offensively. I think there's very little people that can... I mean, I know people are going to disagree with me, but remember, we're looking at just Ice-type Pokemon today. I think that Darmanitan and Galarian Darmanitan specifically, with what it can do in singles, makes it this high on the list. Because in doubles, it's hard, right? I mean, I've personally tried to use Choice Banded Gorilla Tactics Darmanitan for so long in doubles. It's not easy. And the reason why it's not easy is because it's so frail and its typing is so bad. But it hurts so much. It was the first Pokemon banned to Ubers in the Smogon metagame for Sword and Shield, for crying out loud. It hurts so much, but its typing is so bad. And in VGC, all you have to do is fake out and hit with your Sidemon, and the Pokemon is gone, unfortunately. You have to commit so much to make sure that it sticks around that it almost isn't worth it to use, when you can just use a Glacier instead and then get things done that way. But regardless, still very strong, still hits like a truck, still want to put it up on that list. Moving on with the list, I'm looking for a C tier. What Pokemon can be considered a solid C? I mean, for me, a solid C kind of feels like a Lapras. Kind of feels like a Lapras. I feel like Lapras by itself, people have done it. In my opinion, like, if you're running Lapras, you better GMax that thing. But people don't sometimes, and then you're stuck with the Lapras on the field. I think Lapras by itself can still do something, but it's not going to do as much as GMax, right? Regice is another very good B tier Pokemon, I feel. Maybe even C tier. I don't think Regice is as good as Mamoswine, actually. So I would say Regice is a solid B tier. I feel like Regice, same thing, except for special defense. It's a wall. Alolan Ninetales, though. Alolan Ninetales is kind of one of the best, if not definitely the best, snow warning users. Does have fun with, like, you know, Blizzard teams. Alolan Ninetales next to Kyurem White is also, or at least was, very popular in the past. It is one of the best users of Aurora Veil if you don't have access to the Lapras. So I'm going to say solid 8 tier. I'd give an 8 tier to Alolan Ninetales here. I think for sure. Absolutely for sure. Now let's look at some bottom tier picks. Cryogonal. Does anyone even remember this Pokemon exists? I'll give it a D tier. I don't think it's that great. I think it has like very high special defense, but like disgustingly garbage defense, or it's one of those Pokemon. It doesn't hit hard. It doesn't go fast. It doesn't get anything done. So I'm going to go ahead and stick it in that tier. Sneasel. Sneasel saw a lot of play this metagame. Not this metagame. Metagames past, right? Sneasel was very popular next to Colossal because at the time, a lot of people were just using Fake Out to counter Colossal, and Sneasel has access to Inner Focus, and it was the lowest damaging Surf in the game. And people were really afraid. Nowadays, people just Aqua Jet their Colossal. They don't care, right? They'll just Aqua Jet it with Blastoise or Aqua Jet it with Urshifu. They're like, ah, whatever. Damage is damage. It'll go away eventually. But back in the day, people were really scared about doing damage to Colossal, so they would look to Sneasel by having the lowest special attack that you can hit with Surf. And Inner Focus on top of that made Sneasel very good next to Colossal. Also gets a lot of, you know, supportive move. Does get access to other priority moves. It's a very fast Fake Out as well. Not the fastest, but it'll do the job. Same thing kind of goes with Weavile. Except Weavile saw recent popularity with rain teams. I would say Weavile is just as good as Sneasel, to be honest. They both have reasons why you would use them. I think both those reasons are very similar. The only difference between the two, and the only reason people opted for Sneasel over Weavile, is because there's no Inner Focus here. There's Inner Focus here, but no Inner Focus here. So instead of just, you know, running this, you can run this, but make it immune to Fake Outs, which is what Sneasel was, essentially. Moving on, I think a solid B is gonna, or solid C is gonna be Mr. Rhyme. One of the only screen cleaners in the game. And then I'm gonna give I said Mr. Rhyme. This is a Mr. Mime Galarian, excuse me. and that's Mr. Rhyme. One of the only screen cleaners in the game, along with its friend Mr. Rhyme. Unfortunately, it has identical stats, so you can give this Eviolite, and it's just infinitely better than this in every other way. And it's actually faster than this too. They don't have identical stats, but their base stat total is the same, is what I meant to say. But this is actually faster, ironically, and has the exact same move. So why would you ever use this? Or Mr. Rhyme, because I actually like the design for Mr. Rhyme, but it's just not gonna see competitive play because its pre-evolution is technically better, thanks to Eviolite. We haven't seen any F tiers in a while, so I think it's time that we fill up the F tier with some Pokemon here. Dewgong, my friend, I'm sorry, but you're gonna be there. Dewgong doesn't do what Dewgong should be doing. It's not impressive. It doesn't hit hard. It doesn't really do much. So I'm gonna stick it in the F tier. Along with that, Arctozolt. Are you as bad as Delibird? It's really hard for a Pokemon to be as bad as Delibird. That's the problem I'm having with sticking Pokemon in F tier, is that it's really hard to be as bad as Delibird when Delibird is so bad. Even Jynx, I even had some success with Jynx because Jynx gets dry skin, and so it's kind of immune to water. It's also very fast fake out, so you can make things happen. It also gets Ice Shard, so you could proc weakness policies. Like, I can even make an argument for Jynx. I can't make an argument for Delibird. Ice Cube is another C tier bond. Ice Cube is really good in singles. If you can get Belly Drum set up, and you can essentially sweep with this mod. So I think Ice Cube is going to be a solid C, because it does need a little bit of help to get going. Glalie. I don't see Glalie doing anything phenomenal. I really don't. I can't even think of something that Glalie does. I mean, back when it had a Mega Evolution, it can use Glaciate Explosions, and now you can't even do that. Now you can just kind of sit there and shiver. That's all Glalie does, is sit and shiver. I'm going to give Abomasnow. Abomasnow is going to be a C tier because it is a weather setter. Same thing goes for Aurorus. These are kind of the other two Snow Warning users that aren't Alolan Ninetales. Alolan Ninetales just does it so much better than these two do. But they both lack the problems with having a bunch of weaknesses and having a bunch of 4x weaknesses. Aurorus being 4 times weak to fighting and steel, and then the 4 times weak here on fire with the Abomasnow. So that's why they struggle in comparison to Ninetales, which, you know, is a fairy type, so that does get a lot of defensive coverage because of that fact. Sandslash? Alolan Sandslash. It does get Slush Rush, which is why I'm hesitant to put it so low, but it's not good, right? I mean, it's not awful, but it's not great. And I think a lot of the issue with this list is that a lot of Pokemon are going to end up here on this D tier, because I could say the same thing for Beartic, except Beartic could Swift Swim, but the Swift Swim is not great. I could say the same thing with Walrein, right? Walrein doesn't really get much done. Walrein is just a little bit better than Dewgong, but a lot worse than Lapras. So it's in between those two. Articuno, 4 times weak to rocks, I guess. It is legendary, so it does have, you know, adequate stats. Actually, no, it's not that great. Articuno, the only thing that Articuno can realistically do is sit there and sheer cold. That is the only thing I've ever seen Articuno ever do, and that's the only thing I think it can do, because everything else that it does is not that great. Ice is gonna be I said this in the last video. Ice is gonna be rough. Like we're at a condensed list, and a lot of the ice types are fighting with themselves at which one is the worst right now. Ironically speaking, I put Rotom Frost in D tier in the electric video, but I think in the ice video, I'm actually going to say it's a C tier, because compared to these, I think Rotom Frost is a lot better. Definitely. I definitely think that, actually. Maybe not as good as Ice Cube, but, you know, a bottom of the C tier. I think it can get work done. Same thing with Cloyster. Cloyster has the, like, ridiculously high defenses, and no one considers that. It's not great in VGC, but in singles, if you get a skill link Cloyster with King's Rock, you start flinching things for days. It's kind of funny. You could also run a Shell Smash set. Like, there's options in singles. In doubles, not so much. So that's where I lie on that. Zen mode, Galarian, Darmanitan. Definitely not as good as Darmanitan is just by itself with Gorilla Tactics. But it's not horrendous, right? It's not... If you can get it, the problem is it's hard to get, right? But if you can get it, you can get things done with it. So I'm going to say solid C just because when it comes down to it, if it's on the field, it's actually still a threat. It's not like it's garbage. It's hard to get on the field, but once it's there, you know, you can get things done. Vanilluxe actually saw a little bit of usage. I would say Vanilluxe is the second best Snow Warning user next to Ninetales. And I would even argue that Vanilluxe is not that bad. Vanilluxe actually saw a lot of usage because it, you know, does have Snow Warning, does have a Aurora Veil. It saw usage in a time before Alolan Ninetales was in the game, so before the Isle of Armor, where they introduced the Alolan Pokemon back into the game. But hey, it does what Ninetales does, but a little bit worse. That's pretty much it. Avalugg, you could be better. You could be so much better. Yeah, Avalugg struggles. Avalugg definitely does not have a great time. Glaceon, I'll put Glaceon in the C. I mean, I wouldn't use it personally, but I wouldn't count it out quite yet. Frostmoth is unfortunate because I wanted Frostmoth to be a lot better than it is. Unfortunately, Frostmoth just doesn't... Actually, as this list is forming out, I'm realizing that these two belong here. The more I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, those two balls of ice probably don't belong indeed here. They probably belong next to Delibird and the Dewgong. But yeah, like I was saying about Frostmoth, it's such a cool ability, and it's such a good ability. The problem is its weaknesses are just off the charts, so I don't want to give it that much credibility. I'll put Arctozolt here, and I'll put Arctovish up here. The only reason I'm putting Arctovish above Arctozolt is because Arctovish does have access to Vicious Rend, which we know is a lot stronger. And it also does have access to, you know, working in the rain, which would make the Vicious Rend stronger. It has access to being in a Trick Room team, which Arctozolt kind of doesn't like too much. I would rather have a Vicious Rend and Trick Room coming from an Arctovish, personally. And then that leaves us with Froslass. Where do we put Froslass? Froslass does have some sets, right? It has the Destiny Bond, Ice Shard thing going for it. Do I think it's as good as Glaceon? Do I think it's as good as... Do I think it's as bad as... you know, Mr. Rhyme? I'm gonna make this change. Because the more I think about it, Arctozolt and Arctovish are kind of the same Pokemon. I don't think Froslass is as bad to be B tier. I also don't think Sandslash deserves to be that low. Because I feel like if Sandslash is in the right place, you can make something happen. But that typing is so bad. That typing hurts it so much. Maybe Froslass does belong here. I think I'm content with that. Let me know what you guys think down below. I'm super curious to see what you guys have to say about this list, because this list was not an easy list to do. I don't know. I find myself struggling with how accurate this list is, because ice typing is not a great typing, like I've said before. But, you know, at the same time, it produces Pokemon like Glaceon, like Calyrex Ice, like Kyurem White, like Lapras Gigantamax. It produces some good Pokemon, but it also produces some hot garbage. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Kevin. This is Pokésports. If you guys have any differing opinions, make sure to leave them down below. If you guys agree with my list, disagree with my list, hate me, love me, make me know down below. And also remember to like the video and subscribe to Pokésports if you haven't done so already. Hope to see you guys again here tomorrow for some more tier lists. Also, make sure to check me out on YouTube right here on Monday, Wednesday, Friday when I'm streaming Pokemon Sword and Shield's competitive battles mostly from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thanks guys so much for watching. I'm Kevin, Pokésports. Peace out.